It is an incredible honour to have you here this evening. Now, I want to just read a few things for perhaps anyone in the audience who may not be aware, and I don't think there's very many, but I think it's important. You, obviously, an incredible professional footballer. You starred for Liverpool in the Premier League, making 62 England national team appearances. You won the FA Cup, the UEFA Cup, 5 League Cups, and you were an integral part of Liverpool's historic treble-winning squad in 2001, securing the FA Cup, the League Cup, and the UEFA Cup in one season. You've had an incredible international career, representing England at 2 World Cups and 1 European Championship. Two, forgive me. And since retiring, I think what has been so remarkable is how you have transitioned into coaching and, of course, being a key leader and an expert in the industry of football, promoting diversity in football, advocating for greater representation from the coaching perspective and management. And you're involved in so many different charitable initiatives, focusing on youth development and community outreach. I mean, your incredible career, illustrious career, has been marked with so much remarkable resilience, teamwork, dedication. How does it feel knowing that you literally inspire fans and young people all around, the young and old, all around the world, with that unique style and sportsmanship? What do you think it is about your journey, the highs and the lows and the challenges, that really resonates with so many people?
Good evening, everyone. Do you know when you're on a journey with whatever you're doing? I obviously took up football. I was really good at athletics and I really enjoyed that, but I decided with football, you don't really overthink things, you just do and you're in the moment. And it's not until I've actually finished that I realised how much I touched people and people would see themselves in me. I'm from a background where it's Caribbean. My parents came from the Caribbean when they were very young into England. They came to England when they were 10 to start a new life. And that culminated in me. And it's fascinating with them too as well. They're from different islands which are next to each other. And they both left that island and met in Leicester.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's crazy how that all came about, because if they'd have stayed on the islands, they would never have met.
They might not have met each other.
So little things like that. And then me growing up to enjoying football, and now passing that on to others, because they've seen my journey and they feel that they can actually do this exactly, and they can. All you have to have is a dream and the will to actually go and do it. Now my sons are following in the same footpath as me and doing very, very well, albeit with Man City. But you know, it's their journey, not mine, and it's great to see them doing that.
And I think, you know, it's full credit to that genuine authenticity that clearly comes across in your mannerisms, and not just the way you play football, but the way you engage with people beyond the field. And I think that that is something that perhaps not all professional players have, not all athletes have. So, you know, to be able to transfer that skill set is something that is really, really commendable. So reflecting now on Liverpool, and as you reflect on those years, what would you say were perhaps some of the most defining moments in your journey there, both from a personal perspective, but also professional? And furthermore, what makes Liverpool such a singular and celebrated club in the world of football?
First and foremost, it was a club that I supported as a kid. So my uncles, one uncle supported Man United, one uncle supported Liverpool, but I was with the one who supported Liverpool a lot. So John Barnes was my idol. When I understood that they wanted to be involved in transferring me to there, I would have walked, because it was something that I wanted to do. As you mentioned, I played with Leicester and I'd won 2 League Cups there, went to 3 League Cup finals, and I was getting to a point where I was looking at myself and saying, what's next? So the next step was taking that big jump into a huge club that can actually challenge for even bigger trophies. I took that. It wasn't all roses, even though it might look like that on the pitch. I struggled with, even though I was 22 at the time, and you think adult, I was still in my mind a little bit of a child, and I missed my family, my mum and my dad, even though they were only just down the road. I missed them, and I struggled in that side, but when I was on the football pitch, everything kind of disappeared, because that's what it's all about. It's being with your teammates and really transcending being great on that pitch, and that was what I wanted to do. But off the pitch, I struggled a little bit especially for the first year. But I got over that, and obviously we won them trophies, and yeah, the rest is history on that.
And do you think that that's because it also had that sense of family that perhaps
Yes.
you were yearning for? You were able to find that in the teammates, in the management, the coaching, that was sort of, because you are still very young at 22, you know, quite impressionable. There's a lot of pressure. So I think that having that connection at a deeper level with teammates can really help.
100%. And I by that time, I'd been playing for the national team as well. So I actually was around a lot of the players anyway. So that helped in that sense. And then as well, when you're talking about family, the fans. The fans just help so much in settling down whenever they see you. It was a bit wild because I was born and raised in Leicester. So a lot of the fans knew who I was beforehand. So it was a bit more relaxed. And then when I went to Liverpool, I thought I could do the same, and you can't, because it was just, it's more of a religion in Liverpool. Yeah. So I thought I could just walk around the town centre and without being recognised and with being left alone. That was the toughest part.
That was when you hit the celebrity status.
How big the club is as well, because I'd gone from, like I said, walking around Leicester, no problem. I'd gone to America, no problem. I'd gone all over the world, and then once I moved to Liverpool, that all stopped.
Well, that's it, exactly. It's a football club of the world. Everybody knows it, and exactly, it sort of changes. So I want to move now to talk about investment in football, and obviously we're here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia talking about the investment in football here, especially with clubs like Newcastle United. Yep. It's reshaping the sport in many ways. What's your view on that new wave of international investment, and what impact do you think it has on the game from a global perspective?
The thing is, when you have any investment, is to progress the game. One thing we've got to remember is, I'm old enough to remember when they changed it from the old First Division to the Premier League, and that's when it just exploded for us as the Premier League. Because when I was growing up, the actual Italian league was bigger, and then that Premier League and that big global vision, it just exploded, and then you suddenly have better players, not disrespecting anyone, but yeah, you have better players, you have better infrastructure, you have better backroom staff, you have everything there that is growing the game. And now having the investment from Saudi, from kingdoms like this, it's even taking it to another level. And just bringing excitement. Yeah. And that's what you want, and that's what we need as the Premier League. We keep growing and growing because you want it to be the best. It's the reason why everyone watches it, and it's the reason why wherever you go in the world, you sit down and there's a Premier League game on. You can go anywhere in the world. I was recently watching. My parents are from Antigua. So there's actually a Liverpool support, and I never knew this growing up. There was this Liverpool supporters club in Antigua. Some of my cousins are members of it and everything. Yeah. So wherever you go in the world, I was watching a video not so long ago in Haiti, and Man City's jerseys are everywhere. I'm like, Man City? When I was growing up, I never saw a Man City jersey. Newcastle jerseys are everywhere. So it's growing globally because of the investment and because of what it means for football.
Absolutely, and I think that those opportunities for investment, we learn from everyone else, and we're able to progress the game, and that has an impact. We've discussed so much here today, the impact that has on the fans and the younger players, the next generation, which then leads me to, Saudi Arabia is set to host the World Cup in 2034. What do you feel that this particular milestone can mean for the growth of football in this region in particular, and the impact that will then have on future generations and young players?
It's absolutely huge, because I can give it from my perspective as a young lad growing up and watching the television, watching the American World Cup, watching some of my favourite players playing that. But you're going to have it in the kingdom where you could be in the stadium and actually sit there, and you can be within touching distance from, and it just inspires the next generation to dream to be just as good, if not better than them, playing in a World Cup soon. As we were walking through, I was actually thinking my two boys could actually be playing in that World Cup, which is crazy. So I would definitely be over here watching that. And this is what you're inspired to be. You know, you dare to dream and come true.
Absolutely, and I think when you see it and you know you can be it, and you
Exactly.
create those opportunities, it is something that inspires the next generation. But I think as well, beyond players and people who might be involved in sport, the experience that then the fans are able to have from opportunities like this, I think it is going to impact the region in ways that perhaps we can't even envisage what those
Yeah.
opportunities might be.
Well, the thing
yet.
is, I think when you're looking at fans will travel wherever, but when it's on your doorstep, it's just a blessing. I was lucky enough to actually play in 2 World Cups, and I was lucky enough to fly my family to World Cups, but they might not have been able to do that. But having a World Cup on your doorstep gives you that opportunity to go and experience something that some fans may never have.
Yeah. Well, you've obviously had also the experience to play abroad. You were
Yes.
in Australia
Yes.
with the Newcastle
Newcastle Jets, yeah.
Yes. So for players who are heading to Saudi Arabia now, what do you think perhaps are some of the key challenges that you face and other players might face? Adapting to a new culture, new language, but also maybe what are the parallels from your experience that current players might be able to apply themselves as they transition?
Yeah, I obviously was going to Australia, which is a little bit easier because it still has all the British rules, etc. So it was easy for me. But going to a different culture, I think you just got to embrace that. That's part of life. I love that side of things. Different foods, different languages, learning different. I wish I'd have learned a different language. To be honest with you, I
Yeah.
don't. I'm quite lazy being an Englishman.
I know a little bit of this and a little bit of that,
But
but
yeah,
not
it's a
enough.
little bit more than me. But yeah, I think it's great learning different languages, learning different cultures, and embracing them different cultures as well, because this is a very friendly kingdom that loves that.
Yeah, and it's all about that diversity and that unity as well. And
Yes.
this is exactly what sport and football in particular does. It brings people together no matter where you are in the world. And I think that it will allow perhaps the rest of the world to see the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the whole region, from a perspective that is so focused on sport. And that
Yeah.
has such a profound impact. You do also a lot when it comes to promoting women in sport.
Yes.
And the challenges and the opportunities that are associated with that. And you've been quite an outspoken advocate. In your opinion, what are some of the primary challenges and opportunities facing women in football today, especially when it comes to expanding that globally?
The challenges are that, again, we look at football as just a one, but when we look at other sports, we don't. So within athletics, we have different hurdles. Let's say we have 110 meters hurdles, and they have 100 meters hurdles with women's. But within the women's game, when it comes to football, we tend to judge it off the men's perspective. We're totally different. And I had to learn that myself. Obviously, going into the women's game, I went in as an ambassador first with Leicester City Women's, and really enjoyed it, and then moved into actually coaching side, and then went into the hierarchy where I was more technical side of things, and I loved it. It's funny because flying over here, I was watching a couple of the games back from the weekend of the WSL, so it was fascinating that I've taken to it so well and enjoying that side of it. It's funny because one of the players that I was coaching at the time, Ashley Plumpter, she's now at Al Ittihad. So I get to watch her games sometimes, keep an eye on her results. And I actually love the women's game of football because it just gives you a different perspective at times.
Absolutely, and a fun and exciting, entertaining
Yes.
event to watch.
Yeah,
And
100%.
I think we need to be able to promote that as much as possible. Earlier today, we had the Assistant Minister of the Ministry of Sport here, and they were showcasing this incredible video, and the statistics showed more than 70,000 young girls are now taking part in
fantastic.
football. And, I think to see that progress from the grassroots, especially with young women taking part in football, is just a showcase to how far that conversation has changed
Yeah.
here in the region, and a reflection on such strategic, incredible leadership, wanting to prioritize the pathway from grassroots all the way to, becoming a professional player as
And
well.
I think that's important to actually have the strategy to actually showcase that you can have progression from grassroots up. My girls have now moved from gymnastics and they want to do football as well.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it's great to see that there is a pathway, and it's great to see that they're all enjoying it, because again, when you're talking about sport in itself, the help that it has with the mental side of, and the mental strength and the physical strength that you can actually get from it, and everything that goes with that is just immense. And I always champion that, because I've been through a lot with the football in itself at the highest level, so I know what it takes, and I know what it gives back.
And I think as well, to instill the message for young people especially, that connection between, you know, a sound mind and a sound body, and how our sport enables us to do that. Today here we've spoken a lot about stadiums and mega events and the impact that that has on the game. But as things are evolving rapidly, I was wondering what your view is on how, you know, it's becoming an immersive experience to connect fans in so many different ways to the game. How do you see the future of stadiums shaping that sporting experience? And do you think that these modern venues can enhance that relationship between the fans and the teams that they support?
I think that is the key thing. How do you actually... Gone are the times where it was just about the game. I like basketball quite a lot as well. I love Formula One. I love Formula E. I know they have a lot in the kingdom as well. And their thing is about engagement with fans, and how do you actually engage. And I think that's the next step, is how do you actually engage and keep them focused, and keep them focused on the actual sport of football. There's a lot that needs to be done, because again, we're very traditionalist when it comes to football, and we don't really want change. But we've seen it with VAR, even though some people complain about it. We've seen it with other things that they've changed. And I think it's just taking one step at a time to really figure out, because we've got esports as well, and that's huge, and that is all our entertainment. And now the kids want more and more of that within football as well. So it's about how do you actually engage with the fans a little bit more. And I did a course recently with UEFA, and I think they're looking at certain things to try and keep that engagement with fans. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be interesting when they come out with things.
Well, exactly. I think it's how do you maintain that positive feedback? Because a lot of what we've discussed today is that journey from a fan's experience when they arrive. Let's say they're visiting here, you know, from arrival to departure impacts that experience on game day as well.
Yeah, 100%. We do it. When I went to the basketball, they do a lot. They do a lot where you're in the game. They do a lot of fan engagement on the actual screens, and so you feel like you're actually part of the game, and that's what they've got to figure out and see. They do a lot of that in darts as well, where you get a lot of fan engagements on the screens, etc. We haven't taken that jump within football yet, but I do believe they will do soon.
It'll be an interesting journey to see what happens. We've had an incredible opportunity to chat with you, and before we end, I wanted to ask you, I guess kind of as a closing statement or a closing question. You have had an extraordinary journey in football, and you have impacted so many lives around the world. What would be a message from you to firstly young fans who enjoy the game and want to be part of it, but also to young aspiring footballers? So two I guess different messages, but from your experience as a player, what would be something that you would hope that resonates with younger people around the world from that fan experience, but also from someone playing football?
I think for the fan experience is, for me, is all about enjoyment. I first went onto a football pitch just because I loved going there. I first went into a stand to watch football because it was just love, it was just energy, great energy. So as a fan experience, I just think, just bring that energy that will allow the players to really lift themselves for you. Because the reality is when you go on that pitch, 9 times out of 10, you're doing it for the fans. And without them, we've seen it over COVID, without them, really it doesn't look the same. So they are a major part of what we do within football. And then for players is, for me, dare to dream.
Yeah.
I talked about my parents coming from Antigua and meeting in Leicester. If that hadn't happened, I wouldn't have made it where I was. I wouldn't have been here. And I dared to dream that I could be one time playing in the World Cup. I ended up playing in two. And there's no reason why anyone else can't dare to dream that and actually achieve that. And be the best possible version of yourself. A lot of the times especially within sports, you get a lot of setbacks, but they're setbacks for a better comeback.
Yeah, well, I think you epitomise this notion of dedication, resilience, commitment, and also sacrifice. I'm sure there have been sacrifices that you've had to make along the way, and they no doubt have sort of changed as you've gotten older, from when you were 22 years old. What those sacrifices might have been to, later on in your career, I'm sure are very different. But for younger people out there, it's knowing that you dare to dream, but there's also hard work involved, right?
100%. And again, if you're not willing to put that sacrifice and that hard work in, it's going to be difficult for you. But it becomes easier and easier. I remember going on my first run, and that was the toughest part. And then you actually thrive, and you love to go on a run, and you love to push your body to its limit and just see where its limit actually is, which is fascinating. And now with my boys doing the same, I went out for a run with my son, and he said to me, "Oh yeah, I'm just going to go out for a jog." I went, "Oh, okay, that's good. I'll come with you." I went with him, and he just left me.
Really? Because that's what I was going to ask. Do they have the same drive and dedication as you? Because I imagine, our upbringing and all those circumstances also play a very crucial role in our perspective on the world and what those challenges are and what those dreams are. So I think that's a testament to you as a particularly incredible role model to your own children, that drive is there.
Well, I'm guessing he's obviously seen me over the years just getting out and running, and then he's now at the age, he's 18, and he just goes out and runs and does his little, they usually do like 4-minute running and then 2-minute jog and then 4-minute run, 4-minute runs. So I thought, that's not too bad, I can keep with him. No, I wasn't able to. But it's fascinating as well, them growing up in the time and age that they are. So with what the Kingdom's doing for football and sport in itself, is different to when I was growing up. Sure. It wasn't visual then, and probably had a different perspective. Yeah. But now, they're looking at esports, and they're looking at the Saudi. When they're looking at football, they're following the Saudi league. So their perspective is totally different. They will be coming here on a holiday and things like that. It's just different to when we were playing, and it's wonderful to see.
And I know we sort of said we were ending, but I just wanted to ask on that, have you kept update with the advancements in cutting edge technology and innovation as much as you think they have? Because I feel that you still need to be across that, right? You need to know and understand. Do you think they've got that little edge over you?
They'll definitely have that edge over me. In most things, because it's their era. Yeah. I'm slowly trying to catch up, and like you're saying, I did part of recruitment with Leicester City Women's, and that just blew my mind. Because as well, when you're playing football, you only think about the pitch. You don't really think about how I actually got to the pitch, and the detail and the innovation that goes behind all of that is fascinating. But my sons all understand that. And I'm learning from them as well when they're saying that they're sat down and they're with the MDT, and they're basically making sure that they go through their clips, and they're looking at how much they ran and what sort of intensity ran at. I never even thought of any of that. I just got on the pitch, but they're thinking more and more about that, what they can do to get to give themselves that 5% more.
Yeah, and I think that's so. former athlete as well, and I'm going back to the days before we even had touchpads in the swimming pool. So it was quite a long time ago. But I think that as you grow with the innovation and the design and the minds of people who are looking to build the stadiums and to build that experience for everyone, I think it makes that journey a little bit easier for the fans and the young footballers who you're certainly paving the way for. So, Emile Heskey, thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure and honour having you here on stage. I was wondering, maybe do we have one question from the audience? Incredible opportunity to be able to ask a pressing question.
Very shy.
One question.
My favourite stadium, I would say Anfield. I guess you're a Man United fan. They're not going too well, are they? I'm from Leicester. We're catching you. No, I would say Anfield just for the atmosphere and what it meant to be going out on that pitch, etc. I remember playing there as a Leicester player and then going there as a Liverpool player. It was just totally different. It was just fascinating.
Completely different experience.
Yeah, it was so, there was so much energy in the stadium that just lifts you.
Yeah, amazing. Emile Heskey, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.